Hello everybody, my name is Levi, and today I'll be talking about kind of the controversial term or phrase that video games cause violence. And I have three main points that I'll be going over. First of all, I'll be going over how video games cause violence, but then also kind of how that, well, we're going to get into that because that's fine. So my first main point is how video games can cause violence, because when you're an 8 to 10-year-old, or even 0 to 20 years old, really, and even past that, video games, especially first-person shooter games, can have an effect on kids, especially because when you die, you can just respawn and respawn and respawn and respawn. And so giving that image to little kids who still are learning about life, still developing, can be dangerous, because you have this little kid who's learning that it's okay to kill people, because they're just going to respawn. In their mind, of course. And to add on top of that, video games have definitely been developed better, so the graphics are even better. Everything looks more realistic than they did before. So you have more blood, more violence, more gore, all of that. And so it's definitely controversial to say whether or not kids and violence because of video games really match. But that does bring me to my second point. So, my first point was there, and the reason I didn't say all my points in the intro was because I'm going to pretty much jump on this second point, or jump on my first point, and use it pretty much just make sure, just edit that. I'm pretty much just going to trash on this point because, okay, the thing is, video games do not cause violence. They can cause violence, and that I'm not trying to undermine any of that, what is actually being said, because I have heard people who say video games cause violence, which is so not 100% true, but not also 100% false. Because one, if you want to say that video games cause violence, look back to the beginning of time when God created the world. He made Adam and Eve, they had a son, and then his name was Cain, and he murdered his brother Abel with a rock. Okay, and they didn't have video games. They didn't even have TV. They didn't have, technology. Okay, at least technology like we do. Also, think back to World War I, World War II, the Civil War, the bombings of Hiroshima. Okay, stuff like that. That was all before video games. Okay, so if you want to say that video games cause violence, you're not wrong, but you're not right. Okay, and also, the thing is, when people say video games cause violence, they're not. Video games there's just such a wide variety of them. I mean, there are racing games, there's engineering games, and puzzle games, and open world sandbox games like Minecraft, where you can just build what you want. Okay, so not only are shooting games, yes, they can be bad, but also they're just such a small percentage of the actual wide variety of video games that have been created in the past 30 to 50 years when video games were actually created. And so, if you're trying to tell me that Tetris, where you're just trying to fit pieces together, is dangerous and, makes kids violent, no, not at all, because if that makes you violent, either there's something wrong with you, or there's something wrong with you, because Tetris is not a violent game, and in fact, it's a critical thinking game, which it does bring me to my third point, which can be video games can be beneficial, because like Tetris, you have to think fast, you have to develop critical thinking skills to be able to know where this piece fits where and where it would best fit. And games like that, which really help you develop, fast thinking, critical thinking, but also games like Portal 2, a puzzle game where you're just trying to find a way out of a facility, and by doing puzzles to try to open doors. That's pretty much it. And so especially if you're playing with your brother or sister or friend, you have to learn teamwork skills. Okay, you have to learn how to be patient with yourself, with your teammate, and with whatever else is going on. And so video games can have a good effect, of course, when they're not used, when they're not addicted, or when they're not addictive, when they're not used too much, every day, of course, when they're used in moderation. And also, like Minecraft. That game lets you build your heart out. It lets your creation come to life. And so video games can, not will, but can have an effect on what a kid wants to do later in life, because like Skate 3, it's just a skateboarding game. You literally skateboard. And so, or engineering games, or Minecraft, or SimCity Build It, which is a mobile game, you really, I mean, that game, you're, growing a city, you're getting resources for it, and that's city planning, government stuff. And so, I'm not saying that would affect a kid's, what they want to do when they grow up, but it can definitely influence what they choose to do, and it can definitely give them, in a more fun way than school, give them an idea of what is possible out there, because there's, like I said, there's just such a wide variety of video games. So I do thank you all for watching, and well, yeah, that video games, they can be violent. Okay, I'm not trying to say they're not violent. I'm not trying to say they make everything violent. It's kind of right in the middle. All right, you have to keep it, in moderation, play them, but also, like, they're not bad if you do play them. Okay, and that brings me to my next point is, it's not just video games as a whole that really makes people violent, okay? It's just the specific type of game you play and how you personally choose to play that game. I mean, you could choose to play a first-person shooter game as a friendly person, just a teammate, because there are things in first-person shooter games where you can be a medic, or, just a spy, or something. You don't have to kill people. So it really comes down to the person themselves who's playing the game. And yeah, the games can be beneficial too, because like I said, video games are not just first-person shooter games. I cannot emphasize this enough, because not, mostly moms and parents, I've heard this from, say that video games cause violence. And they say video games, just video games. Video games are, like I said, are not just shooter games. But anyways, thank you guys for watching.